to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Cara Delane and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Cara Delane.
Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable After Dark, everyone. And man, Ted, what an intro.
What a great intro. What a great looking crew, Cara, we have tonight. Our featured guests, look at this. We've got Owen Moon from Fixed Ops Digital is here.
Hello,
April
hello.
Simmons, first time April on the After Dark show. And Cara, we've got one of the founding fathers of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Marco Zwanenberg himself is in the house. Marco, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing today? Excited. Let's do this.
Yeah, excited. And a lot to talk about. April, what dealership group are you with? Because you're out in Arizona, I think.
I am. So it's only 5 o'clock here right now. So it's not even quite dark yet, but we'll go with after dark. It's getting close. Horna Auto Group, we have 13 locations sprinkled throughout Arizona. I primarily work with our Phoenix Metro stores along with our Yuma location and help out some of the other smaller outlying stores.
Great. And you're going to become familiar with the name Tully Williams, who I see is with us tonight. Tully?
Oh, yeah.
You know Tully. Okay. Oh, and you know Tully.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right. So, and Cara, we're live tonight, right?
Sure that you know him.
We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So as they're commenting, they'll show up on the screen.
Great. And Owen, like Tully was on like 12 panels. It was a little crazy, okay, the last couple of weeks. So, and Owen, you got a big panel coming up in April, was involved in that as well.
Yeah, we've got the online service marketing panel that Fixed Ops Digital is sponsoring for the upcoming Fixed Ops Roundtable. And yes, we obviously had April on as one of our panelists, and hopefully she's going to really, do a great job. And we've got some other great participants as well that's going to join me. So I'm super excited for it. I think it's going to be great.
I'm excited as well. Jerry Davis, good evening. Good to see you. And I want to do a quick shout out to our exclusive sponsor tonight for the After Dark show. It is BG Products, partners in products. They do a lot for our industry. And BG Products not only is the exclusive sponsor for this evening's show, but at the event coming up in 2 weeks, Cara, they are going to be hosting an online auction with this gentleman right here. Bob Tasca will be with us for the event, and he has put together a pretty exclusive memorabilia package that we'll be auctioning off for the Dare to Dream Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And stay tuned for more details on that. That will be at the event. And Cara, that's why we have all the masks going on, right?
Yes, because we're unmasking childhood blood cancers with the Fixed Ops Roundtable this November. So I know I was the only one wearing a mask, but hopefully everybody else has theirs hidden somewhere.
Oh, I've got mine. I've got it. Look, right here. So far.
Yay!
The problem I realized after the fact is when you wear glasses, I need to make adjustments. Maybe there's a tech named Marco who can help me with rigging something up that would make that work.
There you go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think so. So, and Cara, I've seen some of the masks on a stick. Oh, I saw the one Michelle had the other night. That was pretty cool because I know she wears glasses as well.
Oh, that was her innovation there. She just held the one on the stick because she has glasses. So you got to do that. Got to do what you got to do.
Perfect.
There you go. Good idea.
And I can make it work.
Love it. Super. And the proceeds that we're going to be raising 2 weeks from now at the Dare to Dream Project are going to go to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Dare to Dream Project. It's the children's project. And Cara, I think you also interview or will interview a very young man on that show. His name is Jude Anderson. Tell us about that as I put the QR code up.
Yes, so I interviewed Jude a few months back and his mother Barb as well. And Jude is an incredible survivor of one of these horrible, horrible cancers. And I am so excited for him to be on the show again because he spreads such a positive light in these dark times for children and their families. And he just was there to light up the room last time. So we had to have him back. And he's always super excited, full of laughs. And I think everybody's going to enjoy his segment.
Yeah. So it'll be a lot of fun, that interview. And I think that's what was the term his mom called his re-anniversary or
rebirth, I think.
Yes. I think it's been 6 years, right? Or 7 years. So
yes. So yeah, they're coming up on an anniversary and a big one of his first bone marrow transplant.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
it's an incredible story.
So Marco, if I can, I want to ask you, Marco, take us back 3.5 years ago, and this idea of a fixed ops roundtable. Tell us some of the things that came about that really put all this into motion for those who don't know.
Well, I remember that both you and I just really started out on LinkedIn, and we got connected, and we commented on each other's posts and went back and forth. And you were like, "Hey," it's like, "How far is Orlando from you?" It's like, "Oh, a couple of hours driving." It's like, "Well, I'll be in Orlando. You want to meet up?" It's like, "Sure." So you and I had lunch, and we were talking about what does the industry really, really need. And one of the things that you and I came up with, that the one thing that is most important is time. And we just started talking, and I remember you and I shot a little video or two, and we gave a shout out to Mike Vogel, and we just started talking about how would it be if we just take industry professionals, just guys like us that work in the consulting industry, in the dealerships, management, parts, sales, even F&I, because remember Becky Chernick was part of the first one. And we just started talking and talking. And we were like, well, we could do it in our office, in my office in New York. It's like, let's do this. And we got a nice group of people there, and it just took off. This is really what the industry needed, peer-to-peer, and the information you cannot get anywhere else like the way we presented it.
And April, Marco is a technician, which is not typical, right? That you see and hear this from a tech at a dealership.
It's not. In fact, it's one of the places I find myself going to is Fixed Ops Roundtable. And usually I don't get to catch you live. It's usually later on in replay. But you don't see a lot of techs out there talking. You don't see a lot of, even advisors out there talking, or fixed ops directors out there talking. So for somebody like myself who's trying to figure out a way to market and to have conversations and open the door to bridging the sales service gap and bringing it together as one cohesive marketing space, so to speak, I've learned a lot from listening to the folks on Fixed Ops Roundtable. So it's a really great place to learn about some of the things and be able to open those conversations. So I've actually really appreciated your platform and having a tech come forward and say, I'm here to talk and tell you all the stuff.
Well, one thing I'll say about that is that as marketers, we can't solve problems until we know what those problems are. So getting into the trenches, talking to technicians, talking to the advisors, and then obviously working your way up to service managers, fixed ops directors, you get to hear all those challenges, and then you can put together like a team to say, hey, what's the way that we can help solve that? And a lot of times it is for the customer, right? It's sort of the end goal is for the customer, but you can get a little bit of context by seeing what's going on inside the shop. So,
hey, I want lunch with Tully Williams, Tully. So there you go. How about that? Right? We got to meet up. You're on one side of the country. I'm on the other. We got to I think we can figure that out though, Tully, right? And Cora Lee, thank you for all that you do. Cora Lee, if you don't know, she was on the Roundtable. She was on the After Dark show a few weeks ago, and she'll be also coming up at the next event. She's the author of a book. She's a woman service advisor, and she wrote a book right here called The 5-Star Service Advisor, and it's on Amazon, and it's a really big seller on there. And she's on a Repair Pal panel for us, and she does a lot of great things for the industry. So we appreciate Cora Lee, very, very much. And Tully, I agree with all that. Marco, the panel that you do on the technicians has really blown up big over the last year. A lot of people say it's a must watch. What we do, April, is we have this one panel that talks, and Tully's on that panel, by the way, and Tully's a fixed ops director, and Robert Miggs from CMA's on that panel as well. They talk about the needs of technicians. Marco, take us through some of the topics that you guys have covered, because you've opened a lot of eyes on that panel over the last year and a half.
Yeah, yes. One of the main things that I keep pressing, and actually you can ask Sean Kingery. I just blew up his mind about that. It's not the money. It's really not the money. You can pay me $100 an hour, but if there's no work, the shop is in disarray, the culture is poisonous, it's not worth it. Absolutely not. It's about recognizing the technicians that, I mean, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I got a pretty busted up hand today. We put our lives, literally our lives, our bodies, our health on the table every day. Give us some respect. Treat us as human beings. Know my name. Know my anniversary date. Have some insight into us as people. And like it's been said on our panel lately, we are assets. We're not liabilities. We're not the scum of the workforce. Without your technicians, you'd have no fixed ops department. Mm-hmm. So we're really trying to get the message out that the companies, the dealerships that appreciate technicians, take care of them, invest in them, not just money-wise and training-wise, which both of them, yes, are important, but recognize us as people. Give us respect where it's due. And that has really, really taken on a life on its own, I would say, Ted.
And it's also on that topic of dealership culture, Kara, which we've learned is so important, having a solid culture. And Kara, that starts at the top of the dealership. And look at the relationship we've all developed, on this event. And Kara, I mean, you interviewed Marco at that May event, with me, and we had a whole segment just on Marco.
I know. And he is by far the most fun technician I have ever seen.
Well, one thing I want to say about that, Marco, because I appreciate what you're saying, but what I have found with techs a lot of times is they're not forward-coming as far as conversation. They tend to be a little bit more introverted. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't go and try to engage them and make sure that their needs are being met and that we do care about them as people. Because I think a lot of times, because they're quiet, they're not the screamers and yellers about stuff. They'll silently leave you and you won't a lot of times even know what hit you. So it's important that you understand that they are people and that you seek them out and you take those walks through the shop and you have those conversations with them, because it's too easy to say, oh, well, they're quiet. They don't want to talk. They're back there doing their deal. When in all reality, there's a lot of things we can do to make your life simpler, easier, better, and more productive and efficient, therefore for the whole store.
Well, what the problem here is, April, is that for the longest time, technicians have been seen as replaceable. That's why our toolboxes are on wheels, right? Well, nowadays, the toolboxes are part of the shop. So it's a little tougher if you want to look at that way. But may I call it the beaten wife syndrome? For years and years and years, we've been treated as replaceable, as uneducated, as, oh, look at their hands. They're dirty. They're sweaty. Hello, we're probably one of the most educated people in the business. On a daily basis, we have to train, we have to learn new things. It's a constant. So if now all of a sudden you go from like, oh, scum with the workforce, we can replace you, like, oh my God, we really need you guys. Because, everybody heard about, the great resignation. There's something bigger going on, the great retirement. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this for 26 years. I am not going to stick around for another 26 years. Yeah. I'm looking at retirement in the next 15 years, hopefully. But you're looking at having to take my knowledge and being able to transfer that into the new generation. But why would I do that if you treat me like crap for the last 20 years and now all of a sudden you want to come on and go like, oh my God, we like you. And they're like, yeah, okay, what's the catch here? It's a process. It's a process.
Hey, Marco, I got a question for you. Obviously, communication is huge in any business. I think for the most part, dealerships know how to communicate with type A salespeople, right? I mean, that's what our industry is built on. Obviously, communicating, as April said, with technicians sometimes is a little different because you're talking to an introvert, someone that's not as forthcoming. How would you recommend that dealerships maybe get more involved in communication with techs? What's the way to do it? I mean, where do you put them into a safe place where they can actually be a little more expressive. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, being in that environment every day.
Excellent question. I think that the first and foremost, show up frequently. And that goes from the dealership managing partner, the GM, the fixed up directors, everybody that's always like, away in their offices. Show up on a regular basis. Let us try to get used to that first. Have small talk. Don't just all of a sudden barge right in and go like, well, because then, yes, most of us will shut down. We work with inanimate objects all day long. We don't have to talk. A lot of technicians amongst each other talk, and we make jokes and we have fun, but it's a matter of us getting used to people in the shop on a constant basis that normally aren't there. Shoot the breeze. Lose your tie for a moment. You lose the stiffness. Don't step on your stripes. Oh, I'm the GM. Yeah. And I'm the guy that just arranged to weigh $7,000, so I just paid your mortgage this month. Your point is, treat us as you. Let's get to the levels here. Forget about what office you just came out of, and I will forget about the toolbox that I just left. Show up constantly. Just start with small talk. Like when you meet a girl or a guy, you don't ask him to marry him the moment you see him, right? It's all about courting. It's about literally, it's a relationship that you are building. And whether it's a romantic relationship, a business relationship, a friendly relationship, it has to be built, and it has to be built on mutual respect. Give me a reason to respect you. Once that happens, communication is wide open. I hope that answered your question, Owen.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just curious because I was thinking, like, is it, something that where you're having more one-on-ones? Is it a small group setting? Obviously it's not in the middle of the showroom having that discussion with a bunch of type A's walking around, right? Because right. A lot of the guys are going to kind of clam up. So I was just curious. It was great insight though.
And April, if you want to find out what's going on in a dealership, just ask the technicians because they know everything that's going on. They may be the quiet types in some cases. Maybe Marco may not be, but Marco, the techs know everything.
They hear everything.
Yes. We have eyes and ears everywhere.
Small talks with the techs because I have found that, if I need to figure something out or find out how to get things accomplished, and a lot of that comes from just problem solving, right? Like if you have a problem, you need to talk to every single piece of who could potentially solve it, right? So I go straight to the techs because you go talking to the advisors, or even a lot of times fixed ops directors don't really know what's happening or the flow of how the shop's actually going down. So I do like to go out there and say hi to those guys, and they're funny. They have a great time once you get to know them, but they have been introverted, and so they don't shove themselves out into being included. So it's more that inclusion, right? If you're going to have a pizza party, like don't forget to invite the techs. They like pizza.
No pizza. This is one thing that always ticks me off. You're talking about a shop full of guys that are highly skilled, highly trained, have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on tools. That all come out of my pocket that have to be maintained, replaced. Does your salesperson have to pay for their own computer? No, they don't. Do they have to pay for a phone? No, they don't. I have to pay for all my tools. So here you go, like, oh, we're management today. We're going to do something nice. Here, guys, have pizza. What are we, a bunch of 16-year-old frat boys? Seriously, put some effort into it. You want to show us appreciation? Go to a local sandwich shop, take an order, say, hey guys, we want to buy you lunch. Here's the list. What would you like? Instead of, oh, here's pizza. I'm sorry, I'm not 16 anymore.
We do typically like actual events. So we'll go do go-kart racing and that sort of thing, bring all of sales and service. So we don't disclude anyone. And I'm sorry I said pizza. I just meant it more from a standpoint of I've watched it happen where they've ordered for the whole store and they'll literally tell everyone, hey, there's food in the conference room, and forget to walk out into the shop and let them know.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you're talking about the inclusive part. No, I can definitely see if it's like for the entire shop.
Next time, I promise I'll say chicken and mashed potatoes.
What if it's really good pizza? I mean, the good stuff. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, don't go like well, you know, certain chains that, you know, just like, well, we have to do something, but it's not in the budget right now. So, oh, here you go.
Right.
You know, of course, there's really, but that also comes down to the culture. We get pizza at work sometimes, but it is from an actual real local pizza store. You usually go like, yeah, I'd like pizza, but that's too expensive. No, I work for a fantastic dealership. These guys get it. They truly get it.
That's awesome.
What about Tully's comment right now? Barbecue and smoker in the shop.
We do that.
That's against no, Tully. That's against OSHA. Can't do that outside.
Outside.
Outside the shop doors, but yeah.
Tully just wants me to go home tired, rich, and full.
Yes, he does.
We do pork butts. We do all kinds of stuff. I mean, we like to do our barbecue. We're barbecue.
Perfect. Keep it up. I applaud you for that. Excellent.
Okay, so Marco, Sean Kingery's on tonight, and he just started on the 1st, Tuesday, yesterday, with a new dealer group. Congratulations, Sean. You're up in Wisconsin now. The weather is still warm, I understand, today in Wisconsin. Sean, not for long. You'll be longing for Florida, and Marco very soon. But part of his deal there at the 7 stores, Marco, he's got some technicians who are now, getting up there, right? In age, in their 40s and 50s and so on. And he's noticed that. And, that's, like you said, technicians are aging, and that's got to be a concern for everybody.
Right.
That's a massive concern. I actually witness it across the board. We have master techs and quick lane, and there's a massive gap of the in between.
Well, the good thing everybody has going for them when it comes to training new technicians, good technicians love to boast about their accomplishments and about their knowledge and showing how something can be done like boom, 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 instead of a 7-hour-long ordeal. You have that going for you. When it comes to that, we are extroverts. We love to show off our knowledge and capabilities. But it took me 26 years to get that knowledge. Don't expect for me to just go on a silver platter, go like, oh, here you go. And this is something that Tully has talked about before, and Mike Weldon, and this has been mentioned in the panel that we do with Joe Lockhart about the training part of it. It's all about fair compensation. Let's talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
But we love to boast. Take that from me.
Well, I think training, if you're going to expect our upper level techs to do on the job type training, that should be considered a separate expense that the dealership is paying for the techs to do that. It shouldn't just be expected.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sean, I got that wrong. Look at that. 11 techs over the age of 60 with 30 plus years. So, yeah, you're right. Retirement and reality is coming.
That's happening everywhere. I mean, that's all over the country. You're hearing that it's the retire, another 5 years or so, and this thing's going to look even worse unless there's something that can be done. And I know dealers that are trying to get involved with the technical colleges. They're trying to do more job fairs, career days, things like that. But I'm not sure we can catch up quick enough, unfortunately. I hate to be, pessimistic on it, but I don't think everyone realized the severity of where we were at until the last couple of years has exposed it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We've been reactive for way too long. We got too comfortable with our current workforce, and not just in the shop, but let's talk about parts. How valuable is a parts advisor that knows what bolts and nuts to order with a certain part? How valuable is a service advisor that is seasoned? It's not just the technicians. You're talking about an entire shift over multiple departments.
Yeah, I agree so much. And it's Marco, it's a big conversation. So there is an OEM, Owen is aware of this, that's going to be having a fixed ops conference coming up early in the first quarter, early second quarter next year. And one of the things that we'll be doing for them is we're going to do some panels virtually with technicians, just like you've been doing with, with your group there. And I think, first of all, I think it's something we need to get you involved with, right? But
please,
we're going to bring out the best in these techs, because one of the suggestions I made to them was, look, the dealers and executives need to hear from their technicians, and let's put together a couple panels of conversation. So, hats off to you and what you've started.
Thank you. Ted, I always say, lead from the front and listen to the boots on the ground.
And you know what? It's actually spawned a hashtag, Owen. You saw Sean Kingery had it up there earlier. WWMD, that came up at the last event. And Kara, what does that stand for?
What would Marco do? I feel like we could do so much with that.
Oh, this is going to be fun, Kara. It's going to be fun. Your videos you guys made, you had me cracking up. Like, wow, I say something and here we go.
Time to move some merch.
Right?
Yep. Oh, and not to sell it short, but you've got an amazing panel with April coming up. Talk to us a little bit about that panel and what you guys will be discussing.
We met early to talk about our categories. So we have the categories set up, and I think it's going to be great. We're going to talk about service marketing, sort of where it's been, where it's going. We're going to talk about attribution. We're going to talk about technology, and we're going to talk about customer loyalty. I think is the fourth one. It's April Simmons, Aaron Sparks, and Drew Benson from Cavalli, and we had a couple other ones that just said they couldn't do it. So we're gonna roll with that group. And I tell you, I think if I know these people like I do, we probably could have an hour in this panel. They're gonna knock it out of the park. So super excited. So
you do a great job as a moderator, Owen. You should do more of those.
Yeah, I think we might have a few up our sleeve, right? That we might do. So
I think we might. Yeah.
I just like bringing on good people because they can carry the whole thing. So that's why I set them up pretty well. But
yeah, you had a lot of strong talent on there, April, and thank you for being a part of this Fixed Ops Roundtable coming up. And it is just less than 2 weeks away. I can't believe it's already here.
I know.
It also means Thanksgiving's almost here.
I know. Yeah.
Hey, Marco, there's a question on here talking about electric vehicles, and it kind of ties into a little bit of something that I was thinking about. You said something about techs getting dirty, obviously, in the trenches every day. And I think that's obviously still happening, right, every day. But it's sort of changing, isn't it? It's becoming more of a technical job with some of these vehicles. And now as we transition to EVs, I could see it being even more of that. How do you get these smarter youth to understand that it might not be the turning wrenches and getting dirty, but more of a computer, position at some point that really kind of ties into their, what they're used to. How do we attract those people?
Well, you already see it with the current models of the internal combustion engine vehicles. We fix so many cars with software updates. Yeah. You have to understand that your average car, like when I worked for Mercedes, it would not be out of the ordinary if there's 80, 90 control units in the car, and they all talk over a computer network, a CAN network. We are, might as well put a patch on there for Microsoft and one for this and one for that, because I would come home after work and, my wife looks at me and goes like, "Did you go to work today?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, you're clean. Like, yeah, I fix it with ones and zeros nowadays.
100%.
But the electric vehicles, it's going to bring a whole new slew of problems with it. First of all, I've noticed that a lot of technicians not just coming into the field, but also the seasoned ones are afraid of electronics. You can't have that. You have to be very comfortable with electronics. Now, if you look at the electric vehicles, I mean, our current vehicles, the average voltage on like an ignition system is 100,000 plus volts, but low amps. So yeah, it gives you a good tickle, but it won't kill you. Electric vehicles, you touch the wrong cable, literally you're toast.
Yeah, you're putting your life a little bit more in danger with those.
Absolutely.
Well, Tully says go to schools, and I think that kind of ties into my question is,
yes,
how do we, because right now I think there's a stigma, and April, tell me what you think on this, but, you got to go to a four-year university, right? If you don't do that, what's your other options? And I think we've got to try to make the technical schools seem as cool as the 4-year universities, right? Because otherwise we won't have anybody replace those 11 technicians in 5 years in Sean's place. I mean, there ain't going to be enough people there. So,
well, and the people going to trade schools, it is more fun because you are guaranteed an income. How
True.
many more lawyers do we need? How many more CPAs do we need? All these people need to drive their cars going to job interview to job interview to job interview. We have guaranteed income, no matter what it is. We have guaranteed income. You,
Yeah.
as a technician, you will never be without a job. Simple.
And some of those conversations we need to go way earlier, Owen. So to your point, I mean, you can't, you start having the conversations in high school seniors, you're too late. We need to go in and talk to these kids when they're in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, when they're first taking shop, you know, the ones that are actually excited about it, make sure that we're educating them and lining out that path for them at that point. So here in Phoenix, we have a lot of programs like EVIT where these kids can start actually tech school before they even graduate high school. So their path can be even cut shorter to be making the money, you know, getting out there and doing it. So
Love it. Love it. Well, everybody, great conversations here and coming up in 2 weeks at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We want to announce tonight that April Simmons will be with us at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, appearing on the panel with Owen Moon and Fixed Ops Digital. April from the Horn Automotive Group. Of course, Marco Zwanenberg, this bad dude, is going to be here with us on several segments. And Owen Moon will be here as well, leading the panel for Fixed Ops Digital. So we're excited about all of that and seeing you there. And Carol, when is that event coming up again?
November 15th, 16th, and 17th. So right around the corner. If you haven't got your tickets, grab them now at fixedopsroundtable.com.
Great. We've got a great lineup for you, everybody. It's an amazing show. We took a lot of time to put it together. Thank you, Tully, as well, for all you and Ed have done for the event. We greatly appreciate you, and Sean Kingery. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. So thank you, everybody. And Tony Owens, thank you for all you do, Tony. So don't think that we're ignoring you. All right. So
Thank you, everyone, for being on the show tonight. Owen, April, Marco, always great to hear from you guys and to meet you, April. So thank you, everyone watching. Hopefully you've got your Fixed Ops Roundtable Dare to Dream tickets. But if you haven't already, grab them right after the show. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on Monday at 8 p.m.